I first started accessing the darknet about 8 months ago. Um, Curiosity drew me in. Also, a romanticized notion of unmoderated speech, free of consequences. There are a lot of users on the darknet that suffer from a similar affliction. And so, I accessed the darknet to participate in discussion forums. I wanted to peruse the markets, which is not illegal. It's only illegal if you make purchases. The markets bored me pretty quickly. They're 99.99% about drugs. The forums themselves, they're similar to Reddit in scope, although they probably have a bit wider scope and less moderation. Some of them have no moderation. The image boards, similar to 4chan, just as funny, but with some sinister boards on them. There are harmless things on the darknet. It's not all doom and gloom. I mean, there are book clubs on the darknet. But anyway, I grew bored of most of it. A lot of it is empty forums, sites that no longer work. The directories, most of the directories work pretty well. But anyway, I started frequenting chat rooms, more specifically group chat rooms, mostly to troll other users, to try to get them to log out. I caused massive hemorrhaging to the souls of many pedophiles and stupid kids, and got them to log off. But it was immediately obvious from the very beginning that there was a high volume of pedophiles in these chat rooms, and there's also seemed to be a high volume of kids. And so you could say, well, you could say these weren't real kids. You don't know that these were real kids, and that would be true. I don't know that, but I always wondered if there weren't real kids in these chat rooms, then why was there such a high volume of pedophiles? And why were these pedophiles exchanging files with other users in these chat rooms? And why were they posting files? And why were files being sent to these pedophiles? And so I came to the conclusion that most likely there were kids in these chat rooms. And no matter how much I talked to these kids, I wasn't going to get them all to log out. So my efforts were in vain. I came to the conclusion that what was most likely happening was pedophiles are most likely finding kids on like Facebook and other social media platforms, and most likely they're finding them on these platforms, and they're talking them through the process of accessing the darknet, so that they can have those interactions, the sharing of files and information, free of consequences. So all they have to do is find a kid who's willing to access the darknet, who's willing to download Tor and learn a little bit of OPSEC, so that they could access the chat rooms, that the pedophile could then make these exchanges with them. Of course, I could be wrong, but I'm certain it happens. If I am wrong, it's the scope in which I'm wrong. I have a feeling that the majority of the kids, maybe all of the kids that are on the darknet forums, were coerced into it by somebody on a ClearNet site, because most adults don't know how to access the darknet. Most adults are afraid of the darknet. Again, I could be wrong. Post your comments, any fallacies I've made, or your thoughts on